pictures you are about to see today are truly sad. It captures celebrities' final moments.
Whether it be Amelia Earhart packing up her bags for a journey which she would never return,
or from John Lennon photographed with the man who later murdered him. We're covering it all in today's video, so let's just get right on into it. Starting off this countdown, we have Paul Walker. On November 30th, 2013, Paul Walker attended a charity event for Reach Out Worldwide. He was last captured driving off in a red Porsche Carrera GT. Little did he know that later that day, the car would crash into a concrete lamppost and two trees before bursting into flames, killing Walker and the driver instantly. It's so sad looking at this photo. Like, Paul seemed happy. He got into the car not knowing his fate. In fact, what makes this scarier is that he might have still been alive had it not been for one text. He woke up that morning completely forgetting about the charity event that he had to go to. That was until someone texted him to remind him. Had he not gone to the event and just stayed home, things would have been different.
Coming in at number 9, we have Robin Williams, one of the greatest actors and comedic minds that has ever passed through Hollywood. There was movie after movie that this guy made that influenced people from my generation and so many generations after. And right before we get further into this point, guys, remember that you can like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell, and stick around to the end of the list because we're going to be answering some comments from our previous video, Top 10 Disney Mysteries. I mean, we can go down the list. This guy was in Aladdin, Jumanji, Mrs. Doubtfire. All of those movies were certified bangers, and this was the last picture of him before he passed. He looks so happy. He's chilling out with his monkey Crystal, and the two of them are just being the best of friends, but even having one of the coolest pets of all time wasn't enough to keep him happy. Unfortunately, shortly after this picture was taken, Robin Williams would visit the doctor and get a very sad diagnosis. It would seem that he had Parkinson's. It was devastating news that would lead to him taking his own life. Apparently, he was misdiagnosed and he actually had a specific type of dementia which leads to paranoia.
In our 8th spot, we have Amelia Earhart. The fate of Amelia Earhart is still unknown. Did she die in a plane crash? Did she get stranded on a deserted island? We honestly don't know. In 1937, Amelia set out with her navigator Fred Noonan to fly around the world. One of the last photos of Amelia was her packing her suitcase for travels, in which she would never return from. Much like these other celebrities, she looked so happy, just excited to go on this adventure. But little did she know it would end in tragedy. Amelia and Fred were last heard from on July 2nd, 1937. The government spent 15 years looking for them. In fact, searching for Earhart was the largest and most expensive search in American history. Sadly, hardly anything came of this. They thought that maybe the plane crashed somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, but who really knows?
Coming in at number 7, we have Gene Wilder. It's impressive how Gene Wilder was able to be both hilarious and terrifying in many of his performances. Like, throughout most of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, he's kind of scary, but then when you check out Blazing Saddles, he's one of the funniest dudes around. This was the last picture taken of him, or at least the last one that was shared to the public. He lived well into his 80s, and in this picture you can see him with his daughter walking in Los Angeles. It was in 2013 when one of the most famous actors in the world would learn that he was battling Alzheimer's. This is obviously a very strenuous disease, and it can slowly wither a person away. It's a tough battle, and because of this, Gene wanted to stay out of the public eye. So after he was told by doctors that he was fighting Alzheimer's, he decided that he would stay out of the peering eye of fans and become a homebody. And I mean, it sounds like a solid move. You had an amazing career, so in your last few years it would be nice to relax. He passed away in 2016.
Coming in at number 6, we have Chris McCandless. Chris was a 24-year-old American adventurer. In 1992, Chris set out on another adventure, this time into the Alaskan wilderness. However, he never made it out alive. His death has been debated for years. Some say he died of starvation, others believe that he died of poisoning after eating toxic berries. The last photo ever captured of Chris was a picture he took of himself smiling and waving to the camera, holding a note. The note is believed to have said, "I have had a happy life and thank the Lord. Goodbye and may God bless all." Later, he was found dead by a group of hunters. The hunters were looking for a shelter for the night when they came across the bus where Chris was staying in. But when they entered, they discovered Chris laying in his sleeping bag at the back of the bus. His manes were already decomposing. Now, the last thing Chris ever wrote read, "Day 107. beautiful blueberries. Then days 108 through 112 contained no words, they just had slashes. And on day 113, there was no entry at all. So maybe it was some toxic berry that killed him. But still, this photo is super eerie, especially because of the sign he was holding. It's like he knew he wasn't going to make it.
Coming in at number 5, we have Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest minds to ever grace the earth. This dude was straight up one of the smartest people who has ever lived. If it wasn't for this guy, we wouldn't have the radio, we wouldn't have access to electricity the way that we do today. And even though he has nothing to do with the company Tesla that makes electric cars, there would be a solid chance that those electric cars wouldn't be running right now if it wasn't for the inventions that this man made. This was the last known picture of the inventor. He looks like he was ill, but he was actually mostly thin because he had changed his diet to eating very light. He wouldn't eat meat and he mostly lived off bread, honey, and vegetable juices. Probably the saddest part about the end of Tesla's life is that he basically had no money, although he did find pleasure in pigeons. For some reason, the inventor had an obsession with pigeons. He would go to the park and feed them, and even said that they gave him some of the ideas for his inventions. That's the secret. We've got to start hanging out with more pigeons.
In our 4th spot, we have James Dean. On September 30th, 1955, James Dean died in a car accident at only 24 years old. It's said that he was driving fast and suddenly had to swerve out of the way to avoid an oncoming car, but ended up hitting it almost head on. It's said that Dean died instantly, but his passenger survived with injuries. That day, Dean was photographed posing with the very car he later died in. In fact, that car is said to be cursed. He only owned it for 9 days before his death. Later, after he died, the car rolled off the back of a truck and crushed the legs of a mechanic. Then the car's parts were disassembled and installed into other cars around the world. All those car owners also got into deadly crashes. So Dean's last picture was literally with a cursed car that killed him.
Coming in at number 3, we have Aliyah. Aliyah was a rising star in the R&B community, and it seemed that she was going to be the next star in the music industry. Literally everyone who was into music was talking about her. Before she was 22 years old, she had already won 14 awards and been nominated for 73 awards through different music organizations. There's a good portion of us who don't even have our driver's license at 22, but her death would shock the world. Either one of those two pictures is thought to be the last of Aliyah. They didn't have timestamps on every last picture back then, so we don't know exactly which one it is. But Aliyah would board a plane that was headed to the Bahamas. It should have been a nice short trip, but the plane crashed. Out of nowhere, the next big thing in music was gone.
In our 2nd spot, we have John Lennon. On December 8th, 1980, John Lennon was assassinated outside of his Manhattan apartment. Earlier that day, Lennon was photographed signing autographs for fans. The last photo of him was him signing an autograph for the man who would later murder him. It's so eerie. The photo literally foreshadows his fate. He was literally pictured with his killer. Later that night, the man in the photo, David Chapman, returned to Lennon's apartment and waited outside for him. When he came down, Chapman shot him 4 times in the back. That's just way too freaky for me.
And coming in at the number 1 spot, we have Marilyn Monroe. I mean, what didn't Marilyn Monroe do? It's thought that she changed how women could represent themselves in the public eye. She was one of the biggest beauty icons of all time. It's thought that she had an affair with the President of the United States. She was a bona fide legend, and she may never be forgotten. This was the last known picture taken of the superstar. She was hanging out with one of her buddies, Buddy Greco, who was a famous jazz musician of the time. Man, jazz has changed a lot. It used to be the coolest thing in town. There's no way you could be playing jazz now and it would get you into the arms of Scarlett Johansson. On the record, her death was deemed a suicide, but off the record, it seemed that the CIA might have taken her out. She knew too many secrets from being close to the president. They couldn't let those secrets leak out.
Alright, and that's all for today's video. Let's move on to our comment shoutout portion.
We will be shouting out comments from our video, Top 10 Unsolved Disney Mysteries.
It's your girl Lily commented, if Disney is sus, is it the imposter? And what color? Red.
Red?
Red
is Disney
always
red?
I was gonna say red is always sus if you play Among Us.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I was thinking Disney would be blue. That's what I think of Disney with the blue
But
backdrop.
then I think Mickey Mouse with his like little red shorts.
Oh.
And he was the mascot for Disney. You let us know in the comments below, what color would Disney be? Flocka B commented, by far the best Disney video on Amazing Top 10. Wow, didn't know a lot of these. Had me intrigued throughout the whole video. Nice. This is a really nice comment. I like it. Thank you so much.
She was into it. That's great. You did some
They
good
were
work.
into it.
They were into it.
I don't know if it's a girl or
True,
not. You can't
true.
assume gender. Dante commented, is Jay hot? He's always happy. And look what you're wearing.
I'm just in a good mood, man.
That's why he's wearing the glasses today. I've seen that comment a lot. They're like, Shay is totally stoned.
People think I'm high all the time. It's because I have squinty eyes.
Because he is high all the time. Maybe. That's how he scripts the bets. Oh, and then somebody commented on this and they're like, I hope not.
I hope not. That I'm always happy or that I'm high?
That you're not high.
That I'm not.
I hope not. They don't approve. Sorry, Jay.
That's fair. Ma66 Ryan wrote in and asked, I think the glass shoe not vanishing was meant to be the ticket for Cindy's marriage with the prince. Fate, duh. Yeah, but, if you do this, why not just let her stay past midnight?
True.
Just let her stay past midnight. They lock it up. Everything goes bing, bang, boom. It's a plot hole. They didn't think about that part. They weren't smart enough. If the fairy godmother could have just cast a spell, brought the two together right away, she could have built a castle out of dust and then just like, y'all live here.
She could have been happy from the start, not had her locked up in...
Exactly. What's with all the rigmarole, huh?
Bippity boppity no.
Don't need that.
Did the other slipper disappear? Or?
Everything else disappeared except
for that one slipper,
Sus guys. Prof, Grandpa, and Dr. Dustin wrote and asked, sounds like Debbie Stone got murdered by a jealous coworker. What do you think?
Probably.
Yeah, you think
that's probably what it is, because she just got married, she was young, she was beautiful, look at my ring, push her.
Then Alicia Bryle Ang wrote in and said, the real question is, when was Disney not dark and sus? I mean, that's true. They've been up to some shady stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all the comments or shout out for today's video. Make sure to comment something down below for a chance to be featured in our next comment shout out. And as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to the most amazing top 10 for more amazing videos. I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan.
And I've been Shay Dorena.
I'll see you when I see you.
Bye.
On November 3rd. You're just standing there, sir. It's so funny.
Just stand there.
Okay.